Well, where's that summer gone? Is it episode 7 already of Modulate TV? I think it is episode 7. The last episode we had was around July time. We've had a summer break, just like the government. It's been lovely. We've probably been a bit more productive than the government's been over that period, though. I don't know about yourselves, but we certainly have been. Anyway, it's lovely to be back again. It's lovely to see a little bit of summer sunshine right at the end of the summer. We're having a little bit of an Indian summer, and we've got an amazing little bit of sunshine to bring to you tonight. We've got a whole eclectic mix of songs like we always do for you that Rob Dixon and Matt have put together for us. Matt's again put all these amazing graphics together. Rob's does all of that, pulling all of these amazing artists from around the world together to bring us this amazing collection of artists and artistry. We're also joined by sword swinging robot Matt tonight. Are you there, Matt?
I am indeed. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Nice to be out of my cave and get to come and talk to the above ground people for once.
It's nice to see you out, Matt. I actually saw a picture of you sitting in your garden the other day, so I do know that you do come out occasionally.
Yeah, like you say, it's nice to get this little bit of sun at the end of the year. Makes you appreciate it more.
It is, absolutely, and that's why we've got this. Well, I do feel it is a bit of a summery mix we've got tonight, and we're starting off with a very summery number. Well, it's best to get these things out of the way quickly, so it's me. So we'll get that out of the way right at the start, and I thought I'd mix it with a bit of it almost got like a Miami Vice feel to it, so it's like speedboats across the water, and then flashing back to me sitting in my garden with my bad back, that sort of stuff. So anyway, I put this together thinking it does feel a little bit summery. So we'll kick off with that. This is me. I nearly forgot my own name then, CitizenFLY. You can also find me on YouTube if you really wish to, but I really won't bother. It's all kind of this same sort of stuff. But have a listen. You might like it. You never know. And we'll see you on the other side of this. I hope that's continued a little bit of the summer for you and you feel like wandering down to the seaside and having a dip in the sea and popping your toes in there. You never know.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Little interlude, Matt, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a proper summer banger. It kind of made me sad that we haven't had any dance floors to enjoy that kind of tune on this summer, but at least we got to enjoy it a bit in the garden. And you put your bad back to good use with that one. That was an excellent tune.
Well, that's it, exactly. I didn't have any dance floors to dance on. I just had to sit down and do that because I had a bad back, as you say. But yes, I quite enjoyed that. And we were just talking before as well, and I know this isn't a gear type of show that we're going to do this sort of stuff on. We were just saying before the Machine Plus has come out over the summer as well, and we were just sort of comparing that to the Akai Force, which I've done that on.
Yes.
And it'd be interesting to see how well
Gear
that
talk.
does. Well, it's always good to have a bit of gear talk, but yeah, we'll see. I haven't read a proper review of Machine Plus yet. But I'm a touch under-inspired.
I'll be very interested to see when the proper reviews come out. Looks tempting.
Yeah.
Credit card at the ready.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see, Matt. We'll see what the experts say, and then we'll chime in and just say whatever they're saying. Well, I will anyway. That's what I always do. Right. Okay. Let's get on with some tunes. So coming up next, we've got something fairly amazing, really, utterly fantastic. Actually, I think this is one that Rob found on
Instagram. I think.
Was it?
He's been fishing on Instagram for us again and come up with the gold.
Well, and it really is gold. So this is called Superorder. So this is, I think this is a duo, isn't it? From my understanding. But we're actually only going to see one person in the video playing.
Yeah, I hadn't realised it was a duo until Rob mentioned it. But certainly a bouncing knee and a couple of hands in the video, and an awful lot of very desirable synthesizers. So that's what we like at Modulate.
Well,
lots of flashing lights.
Exactly. I spotted 3 electrons, Prophet 6. And then I think you mentioned as well, was there an Electron Digitone keys in there as well you spotted?
He's got the Digitone keys.
The
synth that divided the internet for a whole week and spawned any number of hideous like Photoshop jobs where people went, I could have made that better if you put the Digitone here. But I really dig it. I think, why not? If you're going to make a synth, why not make it look a bit weird and wacky?
You see, I nearly did a joke about you dig the Digitone, but I couldn't be bothered.
Dig that tone, yeah.
You did a better job of that than I did, to be honest with you. So anyway, we should give a little bit of background about this as well. So Rob's done some fantastic notes in here. So he's an interdisciplinary artist. He's a composer and he's a film and game soundtrack artist, also from Portland. Is that in Maine, Portland?
Oregon,
indeed. Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. And it's an electronic acoustic synthwave duo from it is Portland, Maine. You're absolutely right. And again, this is just an amazing piece of musical inspiration, and it is a retro inspired piece as well. So you get a real feel of I got a real 80s feel out of this whole thing. And I don't know if you got the same thing when you were listening to it, Matt.
Yeah, it's got that real kind of retro future kind of feel about it. The kind of neon, but also 8-bit.
Yeah,
it kind of gave me a big sort of, I think it's Comtrues is somebody that has those amazing, beautiful synth apps, and Just retro drums.
Absolutely, and Rob's put some notes in there as well to say that in April 2020, as Superorder, they released Excellent Systems, which is a retro-inspired instrumental synthware soundtrack full album featuring drummer Max Hines, who's also off Superorder and Sunset Hearts, on the Brooklyn label Totally Real Records. So if you want to look that up, I'm sure that'll be available somewhere on the internet. But I tell you what, Matt, should we have a listen? It really is quite an extraordinary song.
Absolutely.
Right, here we go. This is Superorder with Celestial Checkpoint. See you after this. That really was a superb tune, wasn't it?
It's fantastic.
That was amazing.
Yeah, definitely need to check that album out.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of, I don't know if it's the right phrase, chiptune in there as well.
It's got that, yeah, it's kind of slightly evolved chiptune where it's not quite tied to that really 8-bit sound, and the Prophet 6 just sounds fantastic on it.
Well, yeah, it's a Prophet 6. It does. Well, you'll know this better than me.
It'd be hard to make one sound bad.
Well, it would really. Well, it depends whose hands it's in. But was it the Prophet 6 doing that bass line throughout that? Then, do you think?
I think it was the Prophet was doing the really fast arpeggio part.
Okay.
And I think the Digitone was doing the bass part.
Okay, all right, because the bass part was a good, thick, meaty bit of bass in there as well. That was nice.
It's nice bit of meaty FM bass there.
It was absolutely. Well, that was amazing. Thank you very much, Superorder. Next up, we've got a it's a Modulate TV classic. It's Andy Peggs, and we always get a great little piece from Andy Peggs. Now he actually did a podcast a few weeks back, based around French pop synth stuff and some classic French pop synth stuff. So I don't know whether this was inspired from that, but this is called Danse Ballon, with the traditional French spelling, which means that you just change a C for an S and take an O out. So basically the same words, but just slightly amended.
But it changes the feel, doesn't it? Danse Ballon.
Well, it does. Exactly.
It feels more cultured and Riviera somehow.
Well, it does. You need a cashmere sweater around your shoulders, really, when you're sat listening to this. With a nice French cigarette and a patisserie.
A little boulangerie on the corner.
That'll do. We'll go with that. Yeah, and you've got it. You're playing on your Walkman.
Yeah. But
it has got a real French feel to it, and the real sort of. I don't know. It's hard to put your finger on, but I think Robert said that he has taken his cue from some Instagram art posts to actually create this. And this is we've got another art-inspired piece later on in the show tonight, which is again fantastic. But everything we get from Andy really is superb. Anyway, it's the second piece tonight that I've spotted more Electron gear in there. So we've got another 2 pieces of Electron gear inside here as well, plus some other bits in there as well. Have a look out and see if you can spot the electronic toothbrush in there as well. I did spot that earlier on. I don't know whether he's put that in just purely for people to spot it, but it is in there. Should we ever listen, Matt?
Fire it up.
I think we'd better out, haven't we? It's Andy Peggs' Danse Ballon. Wow. Well, yeah, dance ball on. Andy Peggs. And Rob was just telling us earlier on as well that Andy had taken a lot of inspiration from other Instagram pieces he'd seen where they'd positioned things very strategically around the area just to make it a more interesting visual aspect to the whole thing. And I think he's probably done that with that.
Yeah.
Beautifully inspired, Andy, I must say. And and a nice electronic toothbrush too. Give it a clean next time.
There's like little Easter eggs in there.
There were. I'm sure if we watch that again, there'll be more.
A beautifully laid out video there, and I did appreciate the kind of electron power move of two hands on the fill buttons at the same time in the middle of that.
Yeah, he was just showing off there. One was actually doing nothing. Anyway, that was superb. Thank you very much, Andy, as always. So next up, we've got another. Well, he's actually an only human stalwart. It's Johnny Diamond, who does loads in there. So we, well, I don't know. It's a great song from Johnny Diamond again. He always does good stuff. I don't know what you thought about it, Matt.
Yeah, I love it. We were lucky enough to feature this on the second Only Human compilation. And
yes.
Yeah, I'm just totally blown away. It's just such a huge vocal that he has on it, and the synth parts, the production's fantastic, and I feel like it has a bit of a James Bond kind of vibe about it. There's something in there that I think this might be Johnny's like pitch for the next Bond, and I'd vote for him.
You only synth twice, but yeah, it is. It is lovely, and he's got a beautiful piece of piano playing in there. I think it's the only piece we've got with some piano in there tonight. And Johnny's singing, which is always excellent as well.
Yeah.
And I'd not even thought about the James Bond theme in there, but I found it quite a meaningful piece, quite a melancholy piece as well.
Yeah,
You know, in a good way. It's like a thoughtful piece. It's not like you're going to get up and dance around to this, but you'll have a nice sit down, a glass of whiskey, and have a nice listen to it.
Yeah. Light as in the air at the end of the night.
Well, exactly.
Or phones in the air as it is these days.
Well, absolutely. Well, pick up a glass of whiskey, settle yourself down. Let's have a listen to Johnny Diamond, Unknown Destination.
Unknown destination for a man with no vocation but you. Shouting from the sidelines, looking but not touching, for fear of the believing it could come true, could come true. He thought he bought a ticket to a final destination, a place he could rely on to be a tranquil island in his mind. He couldn't find unknown destination for a man with no vocation but you, but you. Unknown destination for a man with no vocation but you, but you. Driving but not moving through a fog of disappointment, he turns around to see himself, the shadow of the man he left behind. He left behind. Unknown destination for a man with no vocation but you, but you. Unknown destination for a man with no vocation but you, but you. Walking through a desert full of words that have no meaning, bound by chains of self-doubt in a world of thoughtless leaning, state of mind he cannot find.
Johnny Diamond. That was a great song as always. Beautiful vocals in that. He really has got it actually fitted beautifully together with the piano. It's nice to hear somebody singing with the piano.
And that nice, he's got another Dave Smith polysynth. He's got the Rev 2 on the pad duties on that one. Very nice.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Right. Like I couldn't tell from the video; it was hard to see. But right, yeah, that's it's a beautiful synth. It's nice to have the skill to be able to play it properly. You know what I mean? So be able to play a keyboard. I've never been able to actually play a keyboard. I wish that's something I would have learnt.
Yeah, same here.
And to be able to do that.
I cannot play chords to save myself. Thank goodness for Ableton.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank goodness for cheating. That's me, not you. But you know what I mean. Anyway, that was superb, Johnny Diamond. Thank you very much indeed. Really, really excellent song as always there. Next up, we've got something. Again, I mentioned that we've got a couple of pieces which kind of mix art and music together, and this is definitely one of them. So this is Jitterbug Boy. And this was inspired by the films of, now my pronunciation is going to be absolutely appalling of this now, but it's Pedro Almodovar, I think it is, who's a Spanish film director or film producer. Well, I think he's a film director actually, isn't he?
Yeah.
And it's basically these are stills from his films through the years, and I did just a little bit of background reading on Pedro, and just to have a look at the type of films he does, because I've never actually seen one of his films before until I saw this video. I didn't really know what they were, and there is a very similar feel to them all. So they've got a real, they've always got a very strong colour association, and there's a real glossy decor around them. So you get the same kind of look and feel to the colours and the gloss around every single one of his films. So as soon as you see a still from it or see a piece of a film from it, you go, that's a Pedro film, and you kind of know straight away. And when you watch this through, you can see that through them all, that actually it's got a very, very similar look and feel to them all. So he's an Academy Award-winning director. He had All About My Mother and Talk to Her were two Academy Award-winning ones out of those, and those are featured in here as well. See if you can spot as well the nun doing a line. That was quite a nice little. It's only a very that stills on for a very short amount of time, but it is a nun doing a line, I think, on a desk
From the movie Dark Habits.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I've got it up in front of me now.
Fantastic. Dark Habits. That's just the perfect play on words. Wonderful. That's amazing. This is. I don't know what you found of it, Matt, but I just I watched this twice. I was mesmerised by it. I was just mesmerised by the way the music worked so well with what I was seeing on screen, and then it also at certain points for me. Sorry, Matt, I will let you speak. At certain points, it built a sense of dread for me as well. The way the music wasn't building so much, but it was just there was a real tensity or tenseness to the music, which worked so well with the imagery.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually had this on Only Human Radio a couple of months ago, maybe. And at that time, just hearing the audio with no visual, I think I heard the track very differently. Right. And I think it sort of shows the power of music and imagery when you get the right imagery for the right music or the right music for the right imagery. It totally changes the tone. And like you say, there is that tension and that kind of seedy underbelly sort of feel to it that I didn't pick up just from the music, but it's a fantastic package together. And
it's like the last 5 seconds of the video as well. It's just the perfect ending to it, and it just has that little sinister edge right at the end. You have to wait and see what that is now. Anyway, I know you'll enjoy this. I loved this. This is Jitterbug Boy. Jitterbug Boy, Almodovar, Pain and Glory remix. What a fantastic song that was, and I hope you like that little sinister 5 seconds at the end there, the little flicker on her face. Just awesome, absolutely awesome. And Rob was actually saying it was kind of almost by accident that video came about. Well, what a glorious accident that was. That worked superbly.
Absolutely.
Amazing that, Matt, wasn't it? Really was.
Yeah, really great stuff there. And as I say, just I think that visual aesthetic is it fits the track so well, and they really are greater than the sum of their parts.
Absolutely.
So great job, Andy.
Yeah, because you were saying as well, Matt, that you'd listened to that song once before seeing the visuals, and you'd had a very different kind of feel to it until you saw the visuals, and then it gave you a different feel again.
Yeah, I thought it had that. It's got that little twinkly synth line on the top, and then the kind of dubby bass line,
which is nice.
And I just hadn't put it with that kind of visual, but yeah, it's inspired, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. It was wonderful. And again, we've got another visual piece coming up now. So we've got coming up now John Williams, who's part of our friends over at Oscilloscope, over towards Bangor. And he used to be based up here, but he's now living down in London, so he's not been able to perform live up here in any of the things that we do up here through Oscilloscope or Only Human or through Modulate or anything like that. But we have got an amazing piece that he's provided for us tonight, which is, he says himself, is inspired by the themes of life, chaos, simplicity and complexity. And again, I don't know how you found this, Matt, but he's done a wonderful visual over the top that I don't know how he's done it with some kind of visualization software, or he's done it himself or what, but it follows the theme of the music beautifully, and it builds to this fantastic, glorious set of colours towards the end, and then fades out to nothing as it then just gently lets you back down to earth again. It was just a wonderful, wonderful piece of music and visuals combined.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful track, and I think it's where it starts with that kind of dark tension.
Yeah.
Of the electronics, and then that kind of ethereal choral pads that come in and just lift you out of it.
Yeah.
Really impressive track.
Absolutely. And a little note he's put in here as well is that if you can plug in a sub-bass speaker or a sub-back, you'll get the full effect, or try and get it on some decent headphones and you can really hear what it is. Now, I listen to it on decent headphones, and I do agree it is well worth doing, because it really is a superb piece of music. He also says it's best experienced in the dark after a glass of wine with a friend. So why don't we have a listen? This is John Williams. Wow, that was John Williams. What a wonderful piece of music and visuals combined. Real true piece of art. Now, if you want to listen to a little bit more of that, if you do a search on YouTube for Tangly, Tangly, you should be able to find him under that. And what was the name of that song, Matt? I can't pronounce it. You can.
It was Gwahoddiad.
What's that again?
Which is welcome in Welsh.
Well, thank you very much. How do you spell that?
Gwahodiad.
Look at that.
And that's without even looking. So there you go. 10 points for the Cymraeg for me. If I spelled it right, I'll have to double check. But I'm claiming it.
I was about to do a bit of my rubbish Welsh then, and I changed my mind very quickly, so I'm not going to offend people. Right, okay. That was wonderful, though. John Williams, thank you very much indeed. Please do look him up on YouTube, Tangly, Tangly. Right, we've got another classic tonight. It's our friend Wodwo. Do you know actually know what Wodwo stands for?
Do you know? I don't. I've always meant to ask him.
Yeah, me too. Never have done. Right. Well, if you can let us know, that would be great, because it just would be interesting to know where that actually came from. And he's a Modulate favourite, back with his, again, another piece of analogue gear tonight. We've got the Rhythm, Electron gear tonight, the Rhythm, which is a wonderful piece of equipment. This is, I don't know if you felt this as well, Matt, but I was listening to this and there was a Portishead drum beat kind of feel to it in there, and then the more I listened to this song, it had a feel, and I couldn't quite put my finger on which song it was, but from Portishead's album Third, there's a song in there, or maybe it was just a feel of the whole album or something, but it had that really dark edge to it that Third's got, and some really unusual, bizarre little bits in there, which I just absolutely loved, and they've got like animal samples that just bizarrely are suddenly in there. It was just a wonderful piece.
Yeah, it's just amazing what he does with what is a drum machine. It was marketed as a drum machine. It's supposed to be a drum machine, and yet he creates these incredible cinematic landscapes with it, and just vicious bass lines. Is fantastic.
I'm glad you said cinematic, because I actually written exactly that down. Sounds like a soundtrack to a very tense movie scene, and you can almost feel yourself there. It's just awesome the way, and as you say, this is a drum machine, but he's actually created a whole song out of this thing. It's phenomenal what he does with this, and I've heard him do, all the other stuff he's done before with this has been amazing as well. The guy's very talented with this piece of equipment, and as we've said many times before, it's not the box you use, it's the person using the box that makes the difference. You've got to have the talent to be able to pull the stuff out of these.
Absolutely, and it's just great to watch someone who is devoted the time and really knows his equipment inside and out. The amount of live performance tweaks in this track is fantastic.
Absolutely. So let's have a listen. This is an astonishing piece of music from Wodwo. Let's have a listen. We'll hear you on the other side. Well, that was Wodwo with Loxodonta. Robin, thank you so much. What a wonderful song. And we've actually looked at what Loxodonta means as well. Matt, what does Loxodonta mean?
It's an African elephant.
African elephant, there we are. That'll probably be something to do with those amazing animal sounds in there. Talking about amazing, we have got something very amazing coming up now as well. So I'm gonna hand over to Matt for this bit, and Matt's just going to introduce this one. So we've got something a little bit special. Here we go, Matt.
Next up, we have the main man, the founder of Modulate, Etchasketch himself, with a track from his fantastic debut album, Radical Acceptance. This is a modular piece that encompasses a lot of the classic Etchasketch sound, which it'll be great to talk to him about after this. This is Merits.
That was Etchasketch with that wonderful soundscape. Do you know, I felt like if I was listening to that and I wasn't sat in my office at home, I'd like to be sitting outside looking at the stars listening to that. I think that would be a very nice, very beautiful experience. That's the sort of experience I'd have with that. Anyway, we've got the man himself here now. So we've got, not literally in the room, obviously, because we're not allowed to due to the current rules, etc., etc. But I can see him there with his glistening eyes and his beautiful new haircut. We've got a fade there, Rob, have you?
Yeah.
Looks suspiciously like a fade to me. Look at that. Eh? Last time I had a fade, my wife says, "You're not 19 years old, you're 51. What on earth do you think you're doing?" She was quite right. As I hobbled about with my bad back. Anyway, I'll shut up. We're going to have a fantastic interview now with Rob, just talk a little bit about his album, about how he made that, about the pieces of equipment that he uses, whether he's still got those pieces of equipment or whether they've been sold on the internet by now. Let's just pass over to Matt. Matt's going to talk to him for a little while.
Thank you for joining us, Rob.
Hey, yeah.
Welcome to your own show.
Thanks. Yeah, good. Thanks for having me on. Yeah.
It's a fantastic debut album. Am I right in thinking it's all been written during the lockdown period this year?
Yeah. So we and the family had a bit of a kind of epic few months where we moved house 4 times because of work we were having done on our house. So the album's kind of written on our travels. I took a IntelliGel palette case with me with my filled with modules and wrote tracks at a variety of locations across across Colwyn Bay and North Wales, and yeah, that's kind of what formed the album really. So it was strange in a way because I think everyone's responded in different ways to kind of what's happened this year, and for me, I guess sitting down at the end of an evening when everyone else had gone to bed and turning on the modular and patching and yeah, just pressing record and seeing what came out of it really. No real preconceived ideas of what I was trying to create. It was just kind of go with, follow the sounds and follow the textures that were coming out of it, and then try and craft them into something that kind of made sense as a track.
Yeah, and it's just got a real consistent sound. I think that core setup carries through the album, and then you have guest artists who pitched up in the studio, did their thing, and then you waved them on their way again.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, and I think it, whilst it's an album kind of I put together, it's also kind of testament to this group as well in some ways, because a lot of those sounds come from playing live at Modulate or Only Human, and it was actually Andy Peggs who kind of first said, "You've done loads of tracks, mate, send them across. I'd love to have a bit of a tinker and see if I can kind of come up with a kind of track listing for you that might make sense as an album." And I thought, oh, that's cool. The idea of someone else taking a load of music I'd written and kind of giving me their perspective on it in terms of what worked as what might work as an album was quite refreshing, really, to hand it over to someone else and see what they thought of it. So the track listing that's on the album, which is available on Bandcamp, should anyone want to go and find it. But yeah, it was Andy who came up with that track listing and suggested the running order, and then you good self did your magic tricks, whatever you put it through on your computer to give it that little bit of extra sparkle and extra sheen, and yeah, and then you've got an album of 10 tracks, which is fabulous, really, to for something like that to come out of a period which has been quite unusual, should we say, to put it mildly. So
since we're Modulate, favourite bits of gear featured on the album?
I think for me the bit that probably gives me my sound is kind of the effects and the filters that are in the modular. So the Dreadbot Splash reverb, which I know you've heard and coveted a number of times when you've been around mine, and the Chronoblob delay, which is kind of the unique kind of sound delay that's kind of got this freeze and glitch in it that yeah, it sounds like nothing I've ever heard in any other synth. And then there's like a Moog emulation filter from AGH that you can, it's like got a built-in mixer in there as well, so you can take a number of different outputs into there and kind of craft the sound in there. And I think it's those that give it its the overall feel of sounding the same, because everything is always going through, ultimately whatever else you put in is kind of going through those effects and those filters, and that's probably what brings it together and gives it that consistent theme and that consistent sound, despite the fact, as I say, there's probably some other external gear that kind of came into it at times as well.
Yeah, I think that and the Chrono Blob and then the pluck, or anytime the pluck enters your sound, it's one of my favourite sounds.
Definitely.
And as you say, something that I've coveted quite a lot. Every time I hear you playing with that, I'm just like, how much is a modular system? Let me just start Googling things, and then like, no, stop it.
I'm not answering that question.
And what's nice is when you hear that pluck as well, I know it's one of yours. So it's like an Etchasketch signature.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And yeah, just hopefully, as I say, this album, it's kind of done now, and it's kind of it's a statement of a piece in time with how I sound it at that time. And yeah, it's nice to listen back to it and go, cool, I've done that. I always wanted to write an album. I kind of, during this crazy period, one kind of just appeared, and it's like, yeah.
Superb. Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, Rob. Thank you very much indeed, Matt. We're moving on now to something else very special indeed. So I'm going to step away once again with this. We've got something, a chat that you've been dealing with or working with, Rob, before, that is actually featured on, was it your last show? I think you featured on? Oh, no, you featured on his. Sorry, I've got it was the wrong way around.
No, absolutely. So Johno Wells, he does something called Modular World, which is a YouTube-based kind of modular synth show, similar to what we're doing here. And I mean, some of the artists he's had on there are just amazing, just people I've looked up to. And he asked me to do a show, so I asked him to do something for us in return. Johno agreed, and he's done a 20-minute improvisational piece on the modular, which is just, it's just stunning.
It is. And there's a little bit at 4 minutes 20 where all of a sudden it gets a little bit funky.
Yeah, it takes some left turns, doesn't it, throughout the
there's a right bit of funk kicks in at 4:20. What on earth's going on here?
Just before I guess we play him, should mention as well, on Bandcamp, Jono's got a load of stuff on there, so he's got stuff under his own name, and there's a label called Error Grid, which he's got an EP out on, which has just got some amazing stuff coming out on there as well. So well worth checking Johno out on Bandcamp if you like what he's done for us tonight and want to hear more of a similar stuff.
See, now that we're on YouTube, we can say link in description.
Absolutely, we can.
Because it will be.
There you go.
I'll make sure it is.
We should even encourage people to like and subscribe, really. We never do, but I mean, it'd be
Ding
novel.
that bell, people. Ding the bell.
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
Ding it.
Dig that bell.
Ding it.
Tell you what, should we have a listen? This is really quite an extraordinary piece of music, and at about 17 minutes as well, it all builds up beautifully, and it gets quite tense to get in place. In about 17 minutes, there's a sudden inner peace. You'll know exactly what I mean when it happens. It's really beautiful. This is a wonderful piece of music. Please do enjoy it. Well, Johno Wells, what an astonishing, beautiful, evolving, I don't know what else to say, just what an amazing piece of music. That was really, really astonishing. We've looked it up on Bandcamp. It's Johno Wells, JOHNOWELLS.bandcamp.com. So that's JOHNOWELLS.bandcamp.com. Or if you just go into Bandcamp and search for Johno Wells, you'll find it under that as well. And there's some amazing stuff that he's got listed under there.
And check out the Modular World shows on YouTube as well. I think there's about 6 of them so far. Some amazing stuff on there, including Frequency Shift, which is kind of, I guess, showcasing kind of female artists and people who don't necessarily identify with a kind of specific gender, and there's a special show just dedicated to showcasing artists like that. And so some really just spot on performances, and exactly the same kind of values and what we're trying to build, really, just build a platform where during this crazy year that people can actually still perform and have somewhere where they can be heard and people get the chance to listen to it. So he's top bloke, Johno.
Yeah, he seemed like somebody who just genuinely loves music and performance, and
he's just total geek, just so into it. And before I did the performance for him, we spent 2 hours on the phone to each other on a Zoom chat, just wanting to get to know a bit about me. And so we were chatting for about 2 or 3 hours, and time just flew by. So friend of the show, and someone I think we'll do more stuff with, because a lot to learn and lots to share with friends from other side of the pond. So all good stuff.
Absolutely. Around the world. We have had people from around the world, actually. We've had somebody from Australia previously as well.
We have, and tonight a couple of, say, California and Portland, and back over in the UK.
Amazing.
Yes. Can make the world a small place if you try.
Well, we're all one world together in this whole strange thing that's going on, so let's all just put an arm around each other and look after each other and make some beautiful music. That'll be the best thing to do all around, I think, more than likely. We've had an amazing night tonight. We've had some superb artists on. We've had Rob and Matt. Let's just have a quick rundown of what we've had tonight. So we started off with, well, it was quite amazing, CitizenFLY, Sunburst. What a wonderful song that was. See, there you go. I've said something nice about my own song.
There you go. Fantastic.
I didn't mean it. Right, then we moved on to Superorder, which was genuinely astonishing. That was Celestial Checkpoint. After that, we had Andy Peggs with his wonderful little French masterpiece, Danse Ballon. He'd be very irritated if we didn't get the pronunciation correct on that. I did get told off about it the other day. Then we had, who did we have next after that now? We had Johnny Diamond after that with Unknown Destination. Wonderful vocals from Johnny Diamond again, beautiful piano playing, and playing on the, what did you say you spotted on there? Which piece of machinery was it?
It was the Dave Smith Rev 2. Very beautiful synth.
Oh yeah, Dave Smith Rev 2, a very beautiful synth indeed. Then we had Jitterbug Boy with that truly amazing piece of art and music combined, which was, the song was called Almodovar. I couldn't even pronounce it properly last time. Almodovar, we'll go with Almodovar, which was all based around the film director Almodovar, the Spanish film director. Wonderful piece of art and music combined, as we said. Next up we had, we had John Williams then. Now, is this the one with the name I can't pronounce as well, Matt?
This is Gwahoviad.
It was that one. I thought it was. Yeah, and again, another beautiful piece of art and music together where we had that wonderful swirling pattern that developed with the song, and the whole thing was just utterly, utterly beautiful. Then we moved on to Wodwo with Loxodonta, which again was an astonishing piece of music there from Robin, just using the Electron analog rhythm. It is the analog rhythm, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was the other one, but yeah.
Yes.
It's the Mark II, I know, yeah, it's got the nice square buttons on it and everything, not the old round ones. Not that it matters if you got the one with the round ones on it. I'm not being, it doesn't matter.
Don't be ageist now.
Don't suddenly go out, get your credit card out and go on to GAC. It doesn't matter, it's fine. It still does the same thing. Probably just a little bit different, but wouldn't worry about it too much. Then we moved on to Rob, Etchasketch, where we had a preview of that song from his new album. What was the album called again there, Matt?
Radical Acceptance.
Radical Acceptance, which you can find if you go on to Bandcamp, and we had that wonderful interview with Rob there again. And then we finished off with Johno Wells from California with that astonishing, evolving, beautiful piece of synth modular wonderfulness. Hard to say any more about that other than that, really. What a wonderful night that's been. Rob Dixon, it's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Jules. And I guess just before we finish, just if anyone out there wants to contribute, be part of the show, then just get in touch. As I say, we're here just to platform people making music, and the more people that get in touch and kind of join in and be part of the community, the better for us, really. But yeah, thanks all for listening and being part of it.
Indeed, Matt Garnett, as always, thank you so much for everything you've done, for being a partner in crime tonight, and also for all the graphics work and all the rest of it you do in the background. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for all the good work that you do.
Here to help. Anyway, take care, everybody. Stay safe in this strange world. Keep your arms around each other. Let's be one world together. Good night.